Hi guys, I'm just finishing editing and I wanted to explain the length of the video. It has some championship predictions in addition to the Talking Smack review. That's why it's so long. But I hope you all enjoy and I'll see you in the video. The camera comes in on Kayla and she's saying that she's feeling a lot like Summer and she's doing like the jazz hands. Not sure how that's related to the summer, but okay. She announces that SummerSlam is happening on August 21st. It'll be announced on the 2021 Belmont Stakes' pre-show. Heyman is driving her, and I mean driving her, to tell the audience where SummerSlam is. This is one of two main themes you see throughout the rest of the episode. Where is SummerSlam? She says she doesn't know. Paul says that he does. And so Kayla says, well, okay, why don't you tell them? He gives us a clue. He says, where was this past week's Raw? Well, Raw was in the Thunderdome. Did you watch this past week's Raw? And she asks, do you watch it? And he responds, why would I want to watch Raw? I've covered that in the previous Talking Smacks review. He catches the highlights. He thinks, so much for them, they don't have Roman, and he leaves it at that. They mention that the Usos defeated the Street Profits on Smackdown and that they are determined to capture the Tag Team Championships. Kayla asks if Paul is impressed with the Usos' performance on Smackdown, and he says that he is. He talks up the Street Profits. He calls them the tag team of our generation, but that they were handily defeated by the Usos. She asks, what is your thoughts on Seth Rollins thinking Cesaro just looked past him to Roman? Paul Heyman jumps on the fact that she says, what is this tiny little glitch in her subject-verb agreement? Oh my goodness, he goes ballistic. She implores him not to play grammar police. Then he asks if she wants him to get the handcuffs, and you guessed it, if you've seen any of my other videos, asks if she's flirting with him. Kayla, perturbed at this point, hopes that they'll get more variety. The viewers will get more variety next time. Little did I know in hearing it that the variety has been, for the second week in a row, cut by a third. They've cut things down to two guests, and their guests are Bayley and Rey Dominik Mysterio. I love Kayla and Paul. They're great. They latch onto anything as hosts and make it a thematic element. I would still prefer 3 wrestlers over 2. Segment 2 starts with Bayley. I see Paul Heyman and I'm wondering, okay, is this going to be the sycophantic Heyman, or is this going to be the council advisory Heyman? We get the sycophantic one. Bayley shakes his hand and he says, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Bayley is all about blaming Kayla for the booking of guests and for Kayla's supposed obsession with her. She promotes her Ding Dong Hello shirt on WWEshop.com, and doing that, Kayla requests an autographed one. Then Heyman promptly accuses her again of being obsessed with Bayley. And Kayla just says she needs a shirt to clean her house. Dang! It was such a great retort. Bayley asks if she's got Bianca in her ear. Bianca has a sharp tongue when she wants to, but it was a great line. So Kayla asks, what's so funny that Bayley keeps laughing at Bianca about? This has become a part of her gimmick, this cackling, completely illogical laugh. Bayley runs down Carmella's resume because Bianca and Carmella did have a match at Smackdown, and Bianca did defeat Carmella. She talks about the fact that she was Miss Money in the Bank twice. She won the WrestleMania Battle Royale in 2019, also the same year that she became the 24/7 champion. Wide-ranging time for her. That she was also the SmackDown Women's Champion, and that though Bianca may have won, there's no way she enjoyed it. because she cheated at WrestleMania Backlash and it's eating her up inside. Kayla's wondering about this aspect of cheating, and Bayley says that you are not allowed to use a foreign object. And Kayla argues that her hair, which Bianca used to help her pin Bayley, is a part of her. And this is kind of bringing up an excellent point of whether Bianca Belair's hair is supposed to be viewed as a weapon or like a fifth appendage, like a third arm. She claims that she wouldn't be surprised if there was a steel pipe braided into Bianca's hair. Utterly ridiculous. Kayla begins to contest, the way that it bends. And then she's cut off. And when she's pressed for more, she says it's a possibility. No, it's not. She attempts, despite all reality, to try to compliment Bayley. And she says, you have a great, you have a personality. This forms the second theme of the episode because Heyman latches on to it. What is We're forced to ask, what does stand in the place of? Kayla asks if Bayley has some envy because of Bianca's WrestleMania moment. She says that no, she's had multiple moments. She retained the title in a 4-way elimination match. She retained the Smackdown Women's Championship in a fatal 5-way. She's not jealous, not envious. She just thinks that Bianca thinks she's better than everyone else. But she doesn't do that. She doesn't parade around. She's mimicking Bianca at this point. It's some great heel work. It really is, because I'm like, on your best day and Bianca's worst, you wouldn't get anywhere near that. Kayla responds to all that. You're amazing. One day you'll get it back. Bayley says she's going to get it back when she gets the rematch against Bianca Belair, or Belanca, as Cole mistakenly put it. She starts cackling. Kayla says she loved her laugh. I'm thinking, please don't encourage her. But Bayley gives great details. She talks everyone up. She makes herself supremely unlikable. So I dig it. This is miles away from the hug-loving Bayley. Probably for the best in these times. Segment 3 is with Rey and Dominik Mysterio. Congratulations are offered all around. They discuss the first title defense that they've had against the Dirty Dogs. Rey says in a moment of prayer, he felt somebody behind him. They dropped him and attacked his ribs. Now you see in the backstage segment that Rey actually disturbs, or Dominik actually disturbs Rey while he's praying, which seemed really odd to me. Like, what grown son with any sort of respect for his father would actually disturb him while he's praying? Is very strange. Dominik having to go out to the ring to fight them on his own says that Rey stood up for him when they won the titles, so he was going to stand up for them. That's what the Mysterios do. And initially, seeing that they were doing the same thing, that it was like a backstage attack and one would have to go out and fight for both before the other came, seeing that kind of repetition, at first I was so aggravated about it, and I was like, why are they doing the same thing again? But with that one line of, he did the same, he did this for me, I'm gonna do the same thing for him, Dominik got me back, and I was invested again. It was heartwarming, something of the son taking care of his father and their achievement, just like he did for his son, and Rey thanks him. It was really great. This was their first title defense, but when the show ended, the Usos emerged, and they will be going against them this Friday for the tag team titles. Kayla asks, how does Rey feel about this title defense? And I'm thinking to myself, how is Rey going to approach this answer? Will he, like a baby face with impending doom, you know, the kind of, no matter how long our reign is, long or short, we have each other, there's always family, that kind of thing? Or is he going to approach it like a butt kicker? He says he told his son, we have a big target on our backs. His son has proven that he can step up. The Usos are going to step up too, and they can't wait for the match. So more on the butt kicker side a little bit. Kayla passes the floor to Heyman at this point, since in her words, he works closely with the Usos. Now, Paul is quick to clarify that he works for the tribal chief, and the Usos are related to the tribal chief. We really see how manipulative, like, both Roman and Paul are, as Jay is close to Roman when it benefits Roman, but any place where he's potentially a liability, someone else that the organization has to protect, then he's just related to Roman. Paul says that the last time the Mysterios were there, he said that they'd return either without championships or as champions. They've proven to themselves, their family, and the universe that they deserve to be tag team champions. He mentions everyone in the tag division, talks about the Dirty Dogs being hungry, the Usos being reunited, and the Street Profits again being the tag team of this generation. If the Usos follow the tribal chief's plan, the Mysterios have a headache on their hands. He says, you'll be invited back either as former champions or as retaining champions, just as before, and they are invited back anytime. He expresses his respect for both Rey and Dominik, a legend, and everything his father was at that age, respectively, and says he looks forward to seeing the match. Then turns to Kayla, your move, follow that. Such a profound jerk, like, both in the amount of jerkery that he undertakes and the substance of his words. Profound jerk. I love it. Rey appreciates his honesty, such a gentleman, and says that whether it's the Usos or not, it's going to take a lot to take the Mysterios down. They've created history, and they're not going to let the titles go easily. I hope that they don't let the titles go at all, or at least not yet. I think the Usos, in rebuilding the division, should have had to conquer the entire division. It's a short list anyway. I don't care that they're the Usos. Jimmy's been gone for a year. They should have had to reproven themselves as a tag team, with Jay determined to prove to Roman that this is a good thing for the family each week. They could have told the story of the tension between the brothers in ring over time. Roman could have had Jay not compete for a week, derailing them for a little while, then change his mind the next week because control, testing, whatever excuse you want to use. They could have started with the Alpha Academy. We know they're kind of rock bottom right now. Despite Chad Gable being a great wrestler, they are on the bottom. They could have moved to the recently former champions, the Dirty Dogs, then on to the Street Profits, and then to Rey and Dominik. It would have given the fans like a little bit of the feel-good novelty of the first father-son tag team. The honeymoon period could have worn off, and by then, by about 4 weeks or so of the Usos running through the tag division, people would have been ready to see them become champions. I think it's too quick for the Usos to go for the titles after literally one match back as a tag team. And despite the strength of Rey's words, just something about the two of them and Dominik's carriage says to me that they're booked to lose next week. I don't know that, but that's just the kind of sense that I get. After they depart, Paul asks how the connection between father and son is articulated. And Kayla kind of looks at him, it's like, and he says, again, latched on to one thing, one syllable she says, and he's already off and running. There's one more fascinating point that we get from this segment. By Heyman not pumping up the Usos, by him emphasizing that he's not betting against the Mysterios and that they deserve the titles, he's actively creating distance. A clear, crisp, sharp distinction between his loyalty to Roman Reigns and his lack of loyalty to the Usos. And this is a further recognition of the hierarchy that the tribal chief is atop. And it's a reflection of what Roman thinks. Paul Heyman is his special counsel. His presence represents Roman's presence. So the Usos being Roman's cousins, and even Jay being Roman's right-hand man, doesn't automatically purchase Heyman's loyalty, or by extension, Roman's loyalty. Segment 4 is with Paul Heyman. When we come back from the commercial break, Heyman is again pushing Kayla to tell people where SummerSlam is going to be. He says that people need to make plans. We get the 2 cards for the 2 main matches on SmackDown next week. One being the Intercontinental Championship match, one-on-one. Apollo Crews will take on Kevin Owens, but Commander Aziz is barred from ringside. Now, I wished this would be the moment in which Apollo proves that he's capable of holding his own, but far more likely, with there being like no openly stated punishments for Aziz being involved, it's just gonna delay it, and he'll come running down later to help him if he gets in trouble, or Aleister Black will interfere again. It's noteworthy that despite Aleister interfering in the Fatal 4-Way to cost Big E the week before, Kevin Owens doesn't make moves to bar everyone from ringside. It's just Commander Aziz. So that leaves the door wide open for Aleister. They put up the title card about the Tag Team Championship and the Usos challenging Rey and Dominik Mysterio. Kayla starts to introduce Paul. She says this is part of the show, and Heyman immediately interrupts and says, where you tell them where SummerSlam is. He argues that she is withholding information from the public, which is why they're rebelling against her. But she is stout-hearted. She is Dougie, and she refuses to say anything about where SummerSlam is located. She states she is not a puppet. They are running out of time, so Heyman better start talking if he's got something to say. He says he's a happy man. There's nothing he needs to get off his chest. He serves at the behest of the head of the table. Friday, there will be a main event worthy of the public's attention. This made me think, does he mean like under the veneer that Fridays wasn't? If so, I agree wholeheartedly, because when Dolph Ziggler said they were going to be the main event, I was like, they are? Why? Oh, it was a terrible show. He says 2 families are going to collide with the Tag Team Championships on the line. Rey Mysterio, a legend, the greatest luchador of all time, with his son, who he says at 21 is tearing it up. I guess he forgot that Dominik told them literally a few weeks ago that he was 24. Finally, he gives an anecdote. I'm all in for it. I love talking Smack's anecdotes, especially when they come from Paul Heyman. He says that the Usos are a 2nd generation tag team, and that he used to manage the Samoan SWAT team, one of the members being Rikishi, and that he saw these 2 4-year-old young men, he calls them young men, in the ring together, one climbing to the turnbuckle and splashing his twin brother at 4 years old. He went to WCW television because he was relegated to the league at that time. Boy, is he a WWE guy now. But like a bird to the air, like a fish to water, is a Samoan to the wrestling ring. It resides and runs in their blood, their bloodline. He states that he offers no prediction or spoiler. The Usos will have to pledge their allegiance to Roman Reigns and acknowledge him before those sorts of things are offered. but this is a condition of them bowing a knee to Roman. I'm intrigued. Paul Heyman says he's intrigued. Roman is intrigued. And you should be too. But what is Paul Heyman really offering us here, other than obviously talking up the Usos again? I think we get from this, Roman's not going to interfere. That's what this means. He'll be watching. He'll see how what happens benefits him. He'll be watching for where Jay's loyalty lies, how much he helps Jimmy, all that sort of thing, and how deep Roman's pull on Jay actually extends to his in-ring work. But this match, this tag team titles match, I don't think he views as a threat. It's not a threat to him. It's an experiment. For the must-watch segment, easily, hands down, it's Rey and Dominik Mysterio. They're composed yet passionate, and they're determined to not be run over by a tag team with some momentum but only one win under their belts in this current run. They have pedigrees, but the Mysterios are going to rely on their work and their connection as father and son. It's definitely a segment to watch. My rating for this week is 3.5 out of 5. It's definitely better than last week, but not good enough for a 4. It has the worst of Raw, or Raw talk, with a segment of just host co-host stuff, and the additional weakness of the 4th segment being just Paul's, that combination, which limits us to 2 guests. That is a major weakness. That was Talking Smack from May 29th. What did you all think? What do you make of the seemingly official now 2-guest format? Where is SummerSlam going to be? Who's going to win between the Mysterios and the Usos? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. That is how my channel grows and how videos get recommended to others. So it really helps when you do that. Thanks for watching until the end, and I'll see you soon.